Our today's lesson is solving right triangles using trigonometric ratios. Recall from the lesson on 45, 45, 90 that the hypotenuse is square root of 2 times a leg. And we know that the two acute angles are 45 degrees. So if I want to know what the cosine of 45 degrees was, let's say both these angles are 45, so it doesn't matter which direction in this case. But let's say I'm starting down here. That's going to be adjacent over the hypotenuse. And for sine, it's going to be the opposite over hypotenuse. So they're going to have the same value. But in mathematics, it's not simplified when you have a radical in the bottom of the denominator. So we're going to write it as square root of 2 over 2 when you simplify that. When you see cosine or sine of 45 degrees. Recall from the lesson on the 30, 60, 90 triangle that the hypotenuse is twice the shorter leg and the longer leg is square root of 3 times the shorter leg. So this would force this to be 30 degrees, and that's 60 degrees. If you want to know the trig values, let's say cosine of 30 degrees, that's this angle here, that's going to be adjacent. So that's going to be 1 over the hypotenuse. If I wanted to sine of 30, that's going to be the opposite. Let's square root of 3 over hypotenuse. If I wanted the cosine of 60 degrees, then we're going to say adjacent over hypotenuse. If I wanted the sine of 60, then I would say opposite over hypotenuse. So we're going to use these values to solve some of these trig problems. Solve for the indicated missing length of the triangle. The square root of 2 means that this is a 45, 45, 90. So if I want to figure out this side of the triangle, I know it's adjacent to this angle. So I can say cosine of 45 degrees is equal to, and you're going to write the ratio of adjacent over hypotenuse. The cosine of 45 degrees was radical 2 over 2. And what you're going to do is you're going to cross multiply and solve for this. So 2 times x is 2x. And you have 5 radical 2 times radical 2. That's 2x equals, well, radical 2 times radical 2 is square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So what you're going to have here is 2x equals 5 times 2. 2x equals 10. So x has to equal 5 in this case. So the length of that's 5, which means this has a length of 5. Solve for the indicated missing length of the triangle. Well, I see a radical 3 down here, so that tells me this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Right, this is already marked 90 degrees, so I know this has to be 30, 60. So that means this is 30. This is a long leg. That's 30 degrees. That's 60 degrees. And I want to know what the missing length is, and that's on the hypotenuse. So let's say I start with 30 degrees. I could say sine of 30 is equal to the opposite, which is 5, over the hypotenuse. Okay? And recall that the sine of 30 is 1/2. And you're going to cross multiply there. So x times 1 is x. 2 times 5 is 10. Therefore, x has a length of 10. All right, let's look at an application of this in a real-life problem. A 6-meter-long ladder leans against a building. If the ladder makes an angle of 60 degrees, so let's say it's 60 degrees here, with the ground, how far up the wall does the ladder reach? Round your answer to the nearest one. So here's the ground. You want to know what the height is. That's what you want to know. How far up does the ladder reach? And I can use the concept of 30, 60, 90 triangle. So look, I could use the sine to get this. So my setup would be sine of 60 degrees is equal to, remember this is opposite, over the hypotenuse. But they tell me the ladder goes up 6 meters. So this would have to be a distance of 6 meters here. So my hypotenuse is going to be 6, and that's your setup. All right, so this is how you would solve that. Remember, this is 6. And we have opposite is the height, that's what we're looking for, over 6. Well, the sine of 60 is what? We said 3, radical 3 over 2, I believe, right? H over 6. So you're going to cross multiply this. So you have 6 radical 3 equals 2h. And you're going to divide both sides by 2. So the height's going to equal 3 radical 3, which is approximately, if you get in your calculator and multiply radical 3 to 3, you're going to get 5.196. So if I round to the nearest ones, we'll say it goes up roughly about 5 meters. This concludes our lesson for today.